This is F.D. Recovery, where we interview addicts and alcoholics.
Our aim is that through this podcast, we might help you on your journey of recovery.
Thank you for listening. Hello, this is Frank with F.D. Recovery, and you are listening to the Weekly Intention. It is June 22nd, 2026. All right, let's get it cracking. All right, this is the Weekly Intention portion of the podcast. I will do my best to get some interviews lined up. It's just been a little bit busy, so we've been doing the Weekly Intention and just trying to stay at it for now. So last week was self-care. We'll do a recap on that, and this week will be neuroplasticity, which might be new for people out there, but for some of you, it might not be. But we'll dive into it ASAP. But before we do that, we'll do a little recap of how self-care worked for us. All right, self-care. How did that work in my recovery and also my life, right? You don't necessarily have to be in recovery to be doing self-care. But seeing that this is a recovery podcast, that is a primary focus in this. So bear with me. If you aren't an addict, that's okay too. Self-help is intertwined in pretty much any type of 12-step or anything. So you can probably benefit from, 12-step or any kind of God situation, right? I know I said that poorly, but the 12 steps can help anybody out there, right? That's what I'm trying to get at. So we'll move on. Self-care, how did it work in my recovery? That's a good question. Very simple, right? I just, for me, I learned to slow down, right? I didn't realize how fast-paced, go I really am. I just realized how much I let the static kind of creep in and overtake, and next thing you know it, I'm just coming up for air and taking a deep breath, going, what the hell just happened? Where'd the day go, right? And whether it's the stressors, the noise that pulls me under, I did a lot of self-care, did some pit stops this week, as I like to call it, and just kind of took it slow, right? Getting back from my vacation and the hustle and bustle in life, we can get back under the spell of things, right? Or get washed up under the undertow of our responsibilities, right? So I learned to slow it down this week. It doesn't feel like it completely helped, even though I was trying to at least stay aware of it, because that's just the way life goes, right? We employ all these spiritual principles into our life, and our deploy, or whatever you would say, right? We put all these things into play, and all of a sudden, you're just like, where did all that fucking effort go, right? I'm like, all right, I tried this, tried that, and sometimes it's just, it lays in the static, right? You don't really notice the difference, at least at first, right? But over some time, with some of the slowing down this week, it kind of helped me get refocused. I didn't notice it immediately, and sometimes I would just be like, all right, shut the fuck up, right? I'd be like, slow down, take it in. And I felt super cheesy every time I'm trying to do any type of like self-care and trying to get super spiritual. I'm like, all right, chill out, Mr. fucking Guru. Who do you think you are, right? So getting back to that humility piece of going, all right, let's stop the self-judgment. Let's get back on track. What are we trying to achieve here? I'm trying to achieve a better me, a better experience for myself, my loved ones, right? And, just getting back to the connection of life, right? We talked about a little bit in my group that I go to in the rehab, and just talking about self-care and all the different ways we do it, and, what works, and, what didn't work for some of us in the past, right? And just getting to that sharing community, right? That was part of my self care routine, is just getting in there and talking with the fellas in early rehab, right? They're all struggling, and I've been there. That's the whole point of me coming back and just trying to connect with that part of myself that I know still exists, right? That, for me, it was like I came into rehab really struggling, and I can't forget that. I can't. And being in that act of service and going back and talking to those gentlemen and just connecting with them and showing them that there is a path out, right? Some of us get in there and we're just like, oh man, there's no way out. And that's just not true, right? So it's crazy. It starts with self-care, but you end up inadvertently helping other people too, right? That's my self-care, one of my routines. And other people, it rubs off on other people, and other people get to benefit from my self-care. So that's the most important thing, right? Is for me, with this week, was just to slow down, see where I'm failing, see where I'm slipping up, see where I'm, because that's okay, right? That's okay. You're gonna fucking fail, right? And walk into this life and thinking you're just gonna nail everything is not, it's not realistic. Not, at least not for me. If you're out there and you're killing it and you're fucking 100% mode, then good for fucking you. But for this person right here, this human being, right, it doesn't quite work like that. It takes a lot of effort. It takes correct effort. I won't just say I'm efforting. I'm doing correct effort, and just doing my best along the way. And it's slowly but surely. Some days are a lot easier than that. Self care is a lot easier, right? If you're not dealing with A, B, and C, sometimes the self care can go smoothly. But if you're dealing with a whole lot of crap in your personal life, or even just drama at work, you're like, oh man, this self care can get a little bit tough, because you just want to check out. Like, I just wanted to go take a nap and I didn't want to record this, but I know that it is a part of my self care, right? And just sticking into it and being disciplined is so important with the self care. Because you could have, I mean, think about it. You could have the most excellent, top notch, and do this and meditate that. And you could have a really cool, cool and killer routine. But if you don't have the discipline to back it up and do it every single day, or like do it enough to like stay well, then, I mean, those are things you got to revisit, right? So self-care, I've learned that, I got to slow it down, especially this week, getting back into the groove of things. I had to slow it down, recalibrate, check my failures, check my motives, all that, right? And I think that's all I have for how self-care on the recap, right? So we'll dive into neuroplasticity. I learned this word probably about 6 to 7 years ago, early recovery. And I learned it from Dr. Joe Dispenza. I found him on YouTube, and it was just really insightful person. And he broke down this neuroplasticity idea, and I'll look it up and give you the definition to kind of catch you up to speed if you don't know. Neuroplasticity is the brain's remarkable ability to recognize itself by forming, strengthening, or discarding neutral connections throughout your life. It allows your nervous system to adapt to new experiences, learn new skills, and recover from brain injuries by physically rewiring its internal architecture. How it works: neurons that fire together wire together. When you repeat a thought, action, or habit, the connection between those specific neurons strengthen. Over time, this makes the behavior faster, easier, and more automatic, right? Let's see. Synaptic pruning. So I think I got that. Synaptic. Yeah, synaptic pruning. I probably butchered that word. So if you're reading along with me and you're listening, you'll be like, oh, that's not how you say that. Go ahead and look it up. And synaptic pruning. Connections you no longer use are weakened and eventually eliminated to make the brain more efficient. Oh, so like a pruning of a tree, right? Things that you're no longer using anymore, skills you're no longer using, that makes a lot of sense. Real world examples: learning a skill, memorizing a new language, practicing the piano, or mastering a video game physically alters and expands the corresponding processing regions in the brain. Wow, even mastering a video game. Okay. Rehabilitation. Following an injury like a stroke, undamaged areas of the brain can adapt to make over functions, to take over functions that were lost. Mental training, mindfulness meditation, and cognitive behavioral therapy actively leveraging neuroplasticity to alter the brain's emotional and habitual responses. That's probably the most relatable for me, right? The mental training, mindfulness and meditation, and cognitive behavioral therapy, better known as CBT, actively leveraging neuroplasticity to alter the brain's emotional and habitual responses, right? There, that for me, it was just so tough. And sorry if I butchered all that reading. There was a lot of words that were a little above my pay grade, right? So, but I best relate to this in that way is learning this meditation and doing this CBT, getting down to this therapy and trying to learn more about what the hell is making my brain tick and how I respond to things and how I, sometimes just react to triggers, and learning new methods on especially my meditation and disciplines of my exercise, and just redoing things, even like in step work, just learning how to write things down, get honest with myself, and just like repeating it on practice so you get stronger with it, right? And, and why does it matter, right? When we're talking about healing, we're talking about growing, and I'm bringing up this crap. Why does it matter? Well, for this person on my journey of healing, right? This person that you hear speaking, um, this really helped change my whole outlook on like it, especially getting to a point where you think you've gone too far, you've damaged too many things, relationships, whatever, and just knowing that there's a pathway to fixing yourself, and at bare minimum you may know that, like, that was a lot of inspiration for me in the beginning, like, oh, I can like fix my brain. I thought I was just doomed to be this piece of shit, or whatever I thought about myself. And as I uncovered some of this thing through therapy, I realized, like, oh, like, I'm not all those things that I'm telling myself. I had to work on the self-image and identity piece, and through that, you learn all these techniques, writing things down, learning to get on the same schedule, or learning to wake up at the same time, learning to do all your immediate habits when you wake up to get you like a positive day, right? And it's important, right? And it goes on to say, historically, scientists believe the brain structure was fixed after childhood. Knowing that the brain remained highly adaptable offers profound hope. Oh, yeah, that's literally what I just said, right? And it's hitting along the same vein. Like, that was my hopes. Is it goes on to say, knowing that the brain remains highly adaptable offers profound hope for recovering from trauma. And that was big for me, right? It goes on to say, reversing negative thinking patterns and maintaining cognitive sharpness as you age, right? So, contrary to what things used to be and what they used to think, like, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. You definitely can, right? Obviously, some of us are a little bit more stubborn than others, but, and I'm talking in I statements on that, right? And getting down to, man, just understanding that, man, you might have a fucking chance. Like, if you're listening to this and you're struggling and you think like it's hopeless, it's really fucking not, right? You just got to get out of your own way. You got to put the reps in. You got to start trying new things, whatever it is, try new hobbies, all that crap, right? We're talking about the mixed martial arts of spirituality, and it's very important that you try a little bit of everything, because you never know what things will help unlock in your healing process, right? Because when we're trying to let go of all these negative feedback loops and negative reactions, and these just things that have us chained up, right? I don't know if you're anything like me. I just got to a point where I was just so fucking tired of allowing myself to do the same things and hurt the same people in my life and just go down the same rhythm, same song, dance, and at the end I was alone and high. And if you're not struggling with drugs or alcohol and you're just listening to this for a little bit of insight, it's important that no matter what, you gotta remain teachable, and you have to have an open mind, and you gotta try new things. So this week, when we're trying to apply a little bit of neuroplasticity, we're gonna try new things. We're gonna learn new skills. Recovery. You could recover from your injuries too, right? Just the neurons that fire together wire together. So practice things. If you want to learn how to meditate, you got to keep doing it, and eventually you start connecting you're connecting all the right circuitry in your brain to keep those habits up, right? And we're talking about any kind of habit we're trying to learn. We got to, whatever fires together wires together. So it's very important that we get a little bit more intentional about our day, intentional about our lives, intentional about our healing, intentional about our attention. And I am struggling with the words today. Intentional about our whole recovery, right? So I think I'll wrap up after all those mental mind blips, right, that you get to witness live here. Well, not really live, but on recording. I love you guys, and I hope that you apply some of this neuroplasticity work. Look it up, get a little bit deeper. I know it's kind of a big word and fanciness, but what I gain from it is maybe I'll try some new things, right? Maybe I'll try to learn a new language. Maybe I'll pick up a new whatever, right? And put new guitar, new guitar riff or whatever, right? And just trying to get out of my old comfort zone, and trying to rewire the brain, right? Start off on those things that you need to do. Let's see a little bit more. Neuroplasticity, blah blah. Every time you learn something new or have a new experience, your brain forms a new connection and rewires it in existing pathways, right? Think of your brain like a city. When you frequently travel the same route, a dirt path. Oh, okay. A dirt path eventually becomes a paved road, making the journey fast and automatic. If I wish I would have read this right from the gate. What the hell? All right, so that's a little bit better. So all your behaviors that you're doing and all that, it's a pathway that you've kind of reaffirmed all these years. And starting with this whole recovery thing, it's totally applicable, right? So let's start the new thoughts today, and let's start the new journey today. And sorry if I was a little all over the place on this one. I just worked a lot of hours and been up since yesterday, and I love you guys. And let's work on some neuroplasticity. Whatever fires together wires together. That's a catchy little phrase. I love you guys. This is Frank from F.D. Recovery, and we out. Peace. Thank you for tuning in to FD Recovery. A reminder, be kind to yourself on this journey of recovery. Also, call your sponsor, get connected to local support groups, and for one day at a time, stay clean and sober.